Hey guys, how you going? Okay, let's get into it. I have a fair bit for you today. Insurrection Barbie said, "The more you know, I'm not saying this is happening. Okay, now everything in this is theory until proven in a court of law. But this person raises some very interesting research points to research further, and I will say that there's no reason we have 5 patents about weather manipulation if the government's not planning on manipulating the weather." Okay, let's have a look.
I'm not saying that the government created Hurricane Helene. What I am saying is that the government has been manipulating the weather since 1947. What first caught my attention with Helene was the shift in the storm's projected path. One day it looked like it would hit my town. The next day it had shifted east. I then noticed an odd flight path of NOAA 42, the aircraft being flown, a Lockheed Martin Orion P-3. This prompted me to look at previous uses for the P-3, where I discovered that they were used in the 1960s to manipulate Hurricane Camille in a, quote, weather war on Cuba. Now I know this sounds out there, but as we begin to see more and more the terrible things our government has done in the past, is it really so far-fetched? Here are the projections from the 23rd of September. A large spread traveling the Alabama-Georgia line and ending up in Illinois. On the 24th, projections shift slightly east, and the storm is projected to finish in Indiana. On the morning of the 25th, the path shifts back west and shows to be finishing in western Kentucky. That evening, a P-3 conducts a 6-hour operation inside the developing storm. The next morning, on the 26th, the path shows to have shifted slightly east again, now finishing in northwestern Tennessee. The evening of the 26th, the same P-3 conducts operations throughout Hurricane Helene as it makes landfall, and the storm's actual path shifts further east, finishing in northeastern Tennessee. What would the government's motivations possibly be to modify a storm? That I don't know, but I do believe that if we can maintain our republic long enough, time will eventually tell.
Okay, and there's a reason I'm doing it this way and not making it full screen is because I don't want to get copyright strikes. Okay, so I'm trying to keep the volume level. It's not easy. I'm sorry, guys. I think that one's going to be loud.
I'm not saying that the government
Okay.
created Hurricane Helene.
Now, before you say this is not happening, just bear with me. Watch the rest of the video, okay, because there's more to this. Well, let's go to Australia right now. Cafe Locked Out Culture 832 said, "Everyday Aussies message to the PM regarding the censorship bill that we've got going here in Australia. They want people like me not to be able to talk. Okay, I've already had 2 channels deleted. I don't know if that's the Australian government who's done it, the American government, because I report a lot on American politics as well. I guess in the end we'll find out. I don't know if it's like YouTube's doing it, but on behalf of who exactly? I want to know." Dr. CIET17 said, "Here we go. Earthquake prediction, 24-hour warning, a major earthquake is possible. Strong earthquake is likely in the San Francisco Bay or near the Salton Sea between 6th of October and the 7th of October. Please alert friends and family to stay prepared and stay safe." Okay, I don't know. Take this with a grain of salt, but there is a prediction that there could be an earthquake in the San Francisco Bay or near the Salton Sea. Okay, somewhere there. Now, the same thing that's doing this can also do these. Okay, allegedly. Okay, Melissa Chen said, this is quoting someone else, "Elon shouldn't be all in to shield for Trump as the owner of a platform. He should be a political neutral tech overlord." Oh yeah, is that like Zuckerberg goes for the Democrats? I don't know. Anyway, firstly, there's that big publisher versus platform distinction. The former editorializes and curates, the latter does not, at least in theory. Okay, so if they're a publisher, they edit and curate content, okay? But if they are a platform, they're not supposed to do this, okay? They're not supposed to edit or curate or decide what goes out and what doesn't. The latter does not, at least in legal theory. Why shouldn't he be able to share his personal opinion on his platform just like everyone else? Secondly, that hasn't stopped the overwhelming majority of the media and entertainment class from openly shilling for one side. They're just mad now because, God forbid, one influential mogul is breaking their monopoly on the narrative. He's a class traitor, according to them. They'll go after him now with a vengeance that will bring him to his knees. It's not going to be pretty. And Elon Musk said, yeah. And Elon and Trump got together on one of Trump's rallies, apparently. I am yet to watch it. I've seen little bits of it, but I'm yet to watch the whole thing because I was doing my live stream yesterday at the same time. Bad timing, Hev, really. Mike von Steuben said, today I had my first direct encounter with FEMA. I've also heard first-hand reports from people I closely work with here on the ground about similar incidents. A trend is forming. I'll do my best to provide an accurate, unbiased analysis of it here. Buckle up, this is a long one. It's not long compared to what I've read before. Okay. Mike von Steuben said, today we convoyed to Pensacola, North Carolina. The route had just been partially cleared from the north. We loaded up 10 Vics with generators, filters, charcoal, and all the blankets we could fit. Our large convoy took all hour to make the trip over the most treacherous roads I've seen yet. We finally arrived. Sorry, I'm still stuck on our large convoy took all hour to make the trip. I think that's auto-corrected to something else. Maybe hours to make the trip. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting stuck on technicalities here. We finally arrived safely at the fire station. We were informed by a female logistics officer that they were not accepting any more donations until Monday and to take our supplies back. Some locals who were distributing supplies from that fire station told us that FEMA had taken over and was doing an inventory. They also told us that they were only distributing animal feed and hygiene items like toilet paper. We did our best to distribute our load anyway. We sent ATVs into the hills to knock on doors. I put a cardboard sign on my truck advertising what we had to passers-by and managed to offload some of it. In the end, we were forced to return with 70% of what we came with. That's a huge amount. I reported the incident to the church leadership and they were stunned. The pastor's wife told me that something similar happened today at the Mitchell High School, where American Red Cross workers arrived, kicked out all the volunteers and took the supplies to inventory them. Now, when they say inventory, why does that make me think that they are confiscating or hiding? I don't know. It just comes across that way to me. Summary, FEMA and the Red Cross seem to be methodically, my goodness, taking over distribution centres and shutting them down to inventory them. They also sent representatives to our distribution point at the church but left us alone. Analysis, prior to this incident, FEMA had only been observed in an administrative role, but the results of that role are now coming into effect. They are attempting to centralise control of supplies and are allowing bureaucratic red tape to interfere with distribution. Recommendations? Drop off supplies at churches only. FEMA has no authority to seize anything from a church for now. Send a route recon ahead of planned convoys to check for roadblocks and verify that supplies will not be rejected at the destination. Motorcycles are ideal. So anyone willing to help? Anyone who can? Thoughts and prayers for everyone and anyone who's been affected by it. Seriously, this was not normal. Let me tell you right now. I've been studying the weather for years, and believe me, this is not a normal thing. Craig Kelly said the Liberal and Labor parties in Australia funneled $75 million of taxpayer money to the corrupt Clinton Foundation. Well, that's funny because a few years ago I heard there were hundreds of millions given to, hang on, just let me check something, guys. Okay, I found something that says the Australian taxpayer shoveled at least $88 million to the Clinton Foundation and associated associated entities from 2006 to 2014. Okay, but I remember, 300 million. Kevin Rudd handed up, okay. Oh, okay. Gillard also donated $300 million of our money to the Clinton-affiliated Global Partnership for Education. So through the Clinton Foundation, there's $300 million here and then $300 million here. That's $600 million, along with who's saying what over here? The Australians said taxpayers, $75 million to the Clinton Foundation. Well, that was up to 2016. It's more than that now. And Hillary Clinton is actually worried about losing total control. And who is the we she's referring to? Let's have a listen. Is this Clinton?
If the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. If the platforms, whether it's Facebook.
Yeah, they lose total control. There you go. Who is the we she's referring to, the deep state? Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, yes, they can control the weather. Here is Obama's CIA Director John Brennan talking about it. Anyone who says they don't or makes fun of this is lying to you. By the way, the people know it and hate all of you who try to cover it up. Okay, here's John Brennan. Let's have a listen.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, a method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat in much the same way that volcanic eruptions do.
They've been doing it for years. It's called chemtrails. Not to be confused with a contrail that lasts seconds in the sky behind an aeroplane. But this is a trail that lasts and it spreads out and it becomes a hazy sky. They've been doing it since, way before the 90s, but from what I remember, in the 90s. Okay, so let's continue.
An SAI program could limit global temperature increases, reducing some risks associated with higher temperatures and providing the world economy additional time to transition from fossil fuels. This process is also relatively inexpensive. The National Research Council estimates that a fully deployed SAI program would cost about $10 billion yearly. As promising as it may be, moving forward on SAI would also raise a number of challenges for our government and for the international community. On the technical side, greenhouse gas emission reductions would still have to accompany SAI to address other climate change effects, such as ocean acidification, because SAI alone would not remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere.
How would SAI, whatever it's called, how would that reduce greenhouse gases? Aren't you putting more stuff in the sky, into the air? Not only that, I have a theory myself, and this is not fact, this is absolutely made up, but I believe they use it to try and let you know there's climate change, try and promote it, try and excite the climate change, if you know what I mean.
On the geopolitical side, the technology's potential to alter weather patterns and benefit certain regions of the world at the expense of other regions could trigger sharp opposition by some nations. Others might seize on SAI's benefits and back away from their commitment to carbon dioxide reductions. And as with other breakthrough technologies, global norms and standards are lacking to guide the deployment and implementation of SAI and other.
Okay, so he said it himself. You know it happens, okay? And a bit more on that. Kag Drogo said, in case you haven't noticed, they are weaponising weather warfare against all of us with earthquakes and hurricanes. This is weather modification operations in California. A recommended national program in weather modification. And remember Bill Gates wanting to block out the sun? Well, this is part of it. A report to the Interdepartmental Committee for Atmospheric Sciences by Homer E. Newell, Associate Administrator for Space Science and Applications, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Washington, D.C., Interdepartmental Committee for Atmospheric Sciences. Okay, Federal Council for Science and Technology. So this is how the government is overbloated bureaucracy, okay? People like all this BS. State of California, the Resources Agency, Department of Water Resources, Bulletin number 16 to 64, Weather Modifications Operations in California. October the 1st, 1963, September 30th, 1964. So if you do not believe this is going on, I highly encourage you to do some research. Okay, this is 1979, printed for the use of the Committee on Commerce, Science and Transportation. It is Weather Modification Programs, Problems, Policy and Potential. The Honourable W. Cannon, Chairman, Committee of Commerce, Science and Transportation, United States Senate. This is not a theory at all. Now, when they do spraying, okay, we'll call it spraying. When they spray, then they can use electricity to excite certain areas, and they can actually steer things one way or another. Okay, we'll get into that a bit more. Green Beret Naptime said, wow, FEMA's turning away help and threatening to arrest volunteer Green Berets and other medical support if they enter the disaster area to help. What are they hiding? That's what I want to know. This is from real volunteers on the ground in Western North Carolina. This needs to spread far and wide. FEMA's dropping the ball, I'm hearing. Buried in mud, now they're turning away from much of the recovery. It's insane. We were asked to go to a pretty bad area by the Henderson president of the airstrip, who was working with the fire department and the sheriff's department. We were working with JTAC's aerial team from SC in Georgia, who gave us air support. We got there and the sheriff said, no, you can't because FEMA's here. We legit took our four-wheelers through the trails and back roads to get where we needed to go. Reached the people and no effing FEMA at all, I swear. Our own personal experience, we had a team of 17, mostly GB and medical, and they threatened to arrest even though the other sheriff and fire chief requested us, but we still made it to them. Straight BS. I'm pretty sure the rest of us would like to know what's going on too. And I saw one guy, and he looked really old, and I thought, who's he threatening? Like, you could push past the guy. Randy Quaid, which is Eddie from National Lampoon's Vacations, the Dems have provided no proof the election was not fiddled with in 2020 because they fabricated a distraction and won't drop the rhetoric about it. Vote, 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 and let's make this election too big to rig. We need to do what Musk suggested. Be a pest and get people registered. Be a pest and get people registered. Be a pest and get people registered. Now go be a pest and register people to vote. But I'm hearing that a lot from people. If you have family members, get them to register to vote, and you've only got a day or two left in some places. Okay, Doge Designer said breaking Trump rally today had 14 million live viewers on X, now exceeding 22 million total views in less than 12 hours, leaving the legacy media viewership numbers in the dust. Okay.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, you know, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight! Blood coming down the face. Now, America is the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire. So who do you want representing America? Yeah, absolutely. And I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to take away your right to vote effectively. You've got 14 states now that don't require voter ID. California, where I used to live, is just passed a law banning voter ID for voting. I still can't believe that's real. So how are you supposed to have a proper election if there's no ID? It's just meaningless. And free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if people don't know what's going on, if they don't know the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech in order to have democracy. That's why it's the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment. President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America. Yes. This is a must-win situation. Must win. So I have one ask for everyone in the audience, everyone who watches this video, everyone in the live stream. There's one request. It's very important. Register to vote. Okay? And get everyone you know and everyone you don't know, drag them to register to vote. There's only 2 days left to register to vote in Georgia and Arizona. 48 hours. Like, text people now. Now. Oh, and then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction. Nothing's more important. Nothing's more important. So get everyone you know. So I'm speaking to people out there. Everyone in the crowd, I think, is already convinced. But for people out there that are watching the video, watching the live stream, you need to get everyone you know, at work, your friends, family, text groups, your social media, everything. Get them to register to vote right now. Only 2 days left for Georgia and Arizona. Only a couple weeks left in Pennsylvania. And if they're not registered to vote, it doesn't matter at that point. Register to vote. I'm being repetitive for a reason, okay? So nothing is more important. And a lot of people think maybe their vote doesn't count. Well, it does, okay? It does. It matters. And this election could be decided by 1,000 votes, 500 votes. A tiny margin. So get everyone you know to register to vote. I believe that's swapthevote.com. I believe that's the site. And double check that your registration is good. Don't take it for granted. I'm just being repetitive about this point because it is the one takeaway, more than anything, that will matter is getting those registrations and then getting everyone you know to actually vote. That is what will decide this election, especially in Pennsylvania. So thank you, and honestly, you want to just be a pest. Just be a pest to everyone you know, people on the street, everywhere. Vote, vote, vote. Fight, fight, fight. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you.
If you don't, could possibly be the last election, okay, that you get a say in. And I know a lot of people think that you don't have a say in your elections, but I think you do. I really think you do. What about that? We caught them all. You know, do people not understand? Elon Musk said almost 10 million people watching. Well, there's 28.9 million views now. It was Trump was live in Butler, Pennsylvania. Okay, it goes for 3 hours, 26 minutes. I've bookmarked it so I can watch it. Okay, we've got Peter Sweden said, huge. We will take back Brussels from the bureaucrats and return it to the European people. We'll take over the politics of Brussels and make Europe great, strong, safe, rich and free again, says Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. He just met with Matteo Salvini and Geert Wilders. They are leading patriots for Europe, the third largest political group in the EU. The right-wing Freedom Party that just won the Austrian election is also in the same group. Something big is happening. A massive right-wing alliance is forming in Europe and they are rejecting open borders and the woke agenda. Do you support them? I'd say yes, most people do. Michael O'Keefe said, globalists, we're going to destroy Ireland using immigration. The Irish said, we'll see about that. So the Irish have stood up. Okay, there's music behind that. So we got that. The Irish people are standing. Go the Irish people. That's where I was born. Excellent to see, guys. Excellent to see. Shadow of Ezra said at his return rally tonight, Trump alongside Elon Musk made a bold statement to the deep state by playing Nessun Dorma, famously featured in The Sum of All Fears, where all the traitors were executed. Nearly 3 months ago, this was a site of assassination attempt on Trump, and now he's back sending the deep state a defiant message in return. And someone singing Nessun Dorma, it's not the original person. So we'll see if we get copywritten for this. And this song gives me goosebumps, really. Whoa. Okay, ready? Goosebumps. Amazing. Whoa. I loved it when Pavarotti sung it. I love Pavarotti. Okay. Elon Musk has, obviously, he's dark MAGA. Okay. Everyone loves it. Make America great again. Libs of TikTok said this is going to go down in history as one of the most consequential images of the 2024 election. Elon comes out jumping. Okay. MAGA Brittany said this is estimated to hit Tampa directly. The area is the home of MacDill AFB, which houses CENTCOM. It also has one of the biggest ports for oil. It's also my home. Fun fact for the Anons. Port of Tampa is where the real-life Albatross ship that was depicted in the movie White Squall was brought to after being rescued. Please pray for us. Hey? That's not open ocean, is it? Here? Is that where it starts? Because this is really weird. If that's not open, because it looks like there's land. I don't think these things normally start in places like this anyway. Okay. We will get into that more. Wow. That's interesting. Okay, Ron Dunn said this is a quote from a person being evacuated to Australia from Lebanon. I won't be back. I feel very sad leaving my country, but I'm very happy to start a new life in Sydney. This person is allegedly an Australian. No, they're not. They're Lebanese. And for God's sake, geez, Australia's real stuffed up, let me say. I wanted to say a worse word than stuffed. But anyway, Elmer Fudd said, did anyone catch when President real Donald Trump introduced Elon Musk? He said, take over, Elon, just take over. Elon comes out with a shirt that says Occupy Mars. Ready for this one? Elon told everyone repeatedly to go get registered to vote. So the $1 million question now is, what's Elon going to take over with Starlink that is connected to voting in this election? Mars? You already know, too big to rig, baby. Okay. Mars is a military auxiliary radio system. This is a Department of Defense sponsoring program involving civilian amateur radio operators. It was established to provide a pool of trained radio operators for emergency communications, especially during natural disasters or wartime. Although initially set up by the Army and later including the Air Force, the Navy, Marine Corps, version ended in 2015. This program has evolved since its inception in 1925, focusing on providing a backbone for military and civil communications when regular channels might be compromised or insufficient. I think everyone needs a ham radio. I really do. There you go. And there's more. So this bit I'll do on Rumble. If you want to know more, please go to Rumble. Go for it. If your vote ever counted, it's now. Eddie said these two must be protected at all costs. Hated for exposing the truth. Hated for letting the truth be told. Because X is the most open platform that you can get for the truth. I'm telling you now. Thriller the Gorilla said the CIA built a firearm that could make a murder look like a natural heart attack. A small dart made of ice would penetrate the victim's body, release poison and dissipate quickly, so nothing shows up in an autopsy. And this is said here.
The dart? Yes, it does, Mr. Chairman. And a special one was developed which potentially would be able to enter the target without perception.
The poison was frozen into some sort of dart, and then it was shot at very high speed into the person. So when it reached the person, it would melt inside them, and the only thing would be like one little tiny red dot on their body, which was hard to detect. There wouldn't be a needle left or anything like that in the person.
But also the toxin itself would not appear in the autopsy?
Yes, so that there was no way of perceiving that the target was hit.
For many years, I didn't even tell my friends I worked for CIA because I was embarrassed. It's colored my life. It always will. It's like a shadow that falls over my life all the time. I still, if I say anything against them, I turn around wondering if I'm being followed. I never even thought of joining the CIA. First of all, I thought I probably couldn't get in because it was considered the Cadillac of government agencies, and they mostly hired from Ivy League colleges, and I was just out of high school, went right to work for Veterans Administration. And actually it was the typewriter repairman came in to repair my typewriter one day, and he said, you know, you shouldn't be working here, you should be working at a nicer place. They test you a lot. Huge testing. I mean, when you're put into this personnel pool, there are probably 2 or 3 weeks of tests where it's all day long, every single day. And there are IQ tests, there are personality tests. The questions that bothered me the most was when I took the polygraph test. And in the polygraph test, they ask you such incredibly personal questions. For instance, they asked me if I was a virgin. And I was 18. And I thought, what business is it of theirs whether I am or not? And I was rather embarrassed to tell them that I was. because I don't think any of my girlfriends were. I was raised very strict.
Okay, so that was really interesting. Okay, Thriller the Gorilla said Elon Musk on George Soros. Soros, actually, I'll let him say it. It'll be easier.
I mean, Soros actually, he is, I believe, the top contributor to the Democratic Party. The second one was Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
So, and Soros, I don't know. I mean, he had a very difficult upbringing. In my opinion, he fundamentally hates humanity. That's my opinion.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, well, he's doing things that erode the fabric of civilization. Getting DAs elected who refuse to prosecute crime. That's part of the problem in San Francisco and LA and a bunch of other cities. So why would you do that?
Was it humanity, or is it just the United States as a whole?
He's pushing things in other countries too, not just here.
He's doing the same thing?
Yeah. Now, George at this point is pretty old. I mean, he's not, he's basically a bit senile at this point. But I mean, he's very smart. And he's very good at arbitrage. Famously, he shorted the British pound. That's sort of how I think he made his first money, was shorting the pound. So he's good at spotting, basically arbitrage, like spotting value for money that other people don't see. So one of the things he noticed was that that the value for money in local races is much higher than it is in national races. So the lowest value for money is a presidential race. Then next lowest value for money is a Senate race, then a Congress, and but once you get to sort of city and state district attorneys, the value for money is extremely good. And Soros realized that you don't actually need to change the laws, you just need to change how they're enforced. If nobody chooses to enforce the law, or the laws are differentially enforced, it's like changing the laws.
There you go. Very interesting. Then we got Camus said Jimmy Dore, and now they're using lawfare. Anyone who stands up against the establishment, they put in jail. And it's not just in America, it's international billionaires that run everything. In Pakistan, Imran Khan said, we don't want to go along with NATO wars. The people of Pakistan want peace. And that's guys in jail now. Remember, they don't ever censor lies, they censor the truth. Julian Assange was in prison not because he lied, but because he told the truth about the war machine. And they can do it to anybody. They're doing it to stop Cop City protesters who are protesting expansion of the police state. They use the name RICO statute and the same grand jury to prosecute them that they did Donald Trump. That shows you if they can do it to them, they'll do it to anybody who stands up against the establishment. It could be me, it could be you, it could be Jill Stein, Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, no matter who it is. They're going to use lawfare and make you an effing criminal because that's the name of the game today. So we have to stand up against it. We have to stand up for everybody's freedom of speech. Credit to Jimmy Dore, even though I just said it, okay? I just read it. And you do. This is why this is the most important election, because after this there is nothing. If they win, there's nothing. You might as well, I don't know, bury your head in the sand. I don't know. Trump War Room said, this is Butler. We don't stand down, we stand up. Ready?
Supporters are already on site.
This is Butler. We don't stand down, we stand up.
Supporters.
There you go. Then we got Turning Point UK. Don't give us this rubbish about your need for educated migrants. We don't need your doctors. We don't need your engineers. Keep them. Let's have a look. They're not bringing in any engineers here. Oh, many anyway.
The lowest unemployment in European Union is Poland. The highest GDP after COVID in European Union is Poland. One of the lowest debts in European Union is Poland. So don't give us this rubbish about the need of educated immigration, as we heard yesterday. We don't need your doctors. We don't need your engineers. Take them all, and pay for them. We don't need them. You know why? Because there is zero terrorist attacks in Poland. Why? Because there is no illegal migration in Poland. So don't give me this look. Don't give me these arguments about the populism, because this is a fact. This is your data from Eurostat. So we don't need your engineers. We don't need your doctors. Take them. Do not teach us Do not teach us about democracy, because we know what the democracy is. So learn from Poland, be like Poland. Thank you very much.
There you go. Well done. Okay, Benny Johnson said, Pure Fire, North Carolina resident, has one simple message for the government. We don't roll over. We don't back down. Okay, let her tell you.
This message is for the government and anybody else who thinks they can slow us down. You obviously don't know what kind of people we are. You ever heard the saying, come hell or high water? Well, here we are. You want to try to stop us? We'll find another way around you. Newsflash to you again. We know the mountains like the back of our hands. Those are our people. You ain't going to do jack shit. We're going to do everything we can. You want to push us? We push back harder. You don't think that's going to happen? Keep pushing us. We don't roll over. We don't back down. We will get to our brothers and sisters. Without you, we don't need you. This message is for the government and anybody else who thinks
Something going on my computer, I think. Anyway, there you go. She's telling him. Insurrection Barbie said you realise they're lying to you and you can literally fact check them just by going on the White House website. This is the problem. Democrats have gotten so arrogant because they know that we don't have a media, but you can literally go on the White House website and fact check these lying pieces of garbage in real time. That was their words, not mine. Ready for this?
President Trump is accusing the Biden administration of using FEMA funding to support undocumented migrants. How is the White House responding to that?
I mean, it's just categorically false. It is not true. It is a false statement. And look, the fact of the matter is, I think Washington Post fact checker did a piece, and the headline recently, just moments ago, not too long ago, and the headline was, no, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants, but Trump did. I'll leave it there.
President Trump is accusing the Biden...
Trump did not. It's on their website. The Biden has obviously used it for immigration rather than any emergencies that you need for the people who live there, who are born there. Wide Awake Media said English farmer, we've been offered £2,500 by the UK government to join a scheme for 3 years where we don't supply you any food. Why would a government be paying farmers not to produce any food? Because they want to starve you out.
The next thing I'm going to tell you is unreal, because now we've been offered £2,500 to join a scheme for 3 years and we don't supply you any food. Now listen to that.
We're going to go hungry.
I am going to plough a field. I'm going to put spring barley in. I'm going to get £440 off the government per acre, okay? That when it comes to crop size, leave it rot in the ground. So I don't get no straw for the cattle. You don't get nothing for your bread, for everything we make, okay? But I can also plant bee mix, which is for birds and bees. I can plant wild bird seed, which is for wild birds. I can also be paid to buy a ton of wild bird seed like anybody puts in their garden for the birds and drool it out on the ground once a week. I can get paid for that. Now my accountant says, do it, because in doing that, I've not got to buy fertiliser, which since the Ukraine war, it's gone from £250 an acre to £1,000 a tonne. So in order to fertilise your food, I've got to buy fertiliser at £1,000 a tonne. It's come down a little bit and sometimes, and it goes up a little bit. But that's basically where we are. So I now got a crop that I don't have to spray. I don't have to send nobody out there with a tractor. I don't have to fertilise it. So I can just leave it in the ground and let it roll. And pick up my £440 an acre and go all over it again. And the government is giving me £2,500 for the next 3 years to do that.
Wow.
And I'm not the only one.
Yeah, why?
Yep, because they want people to starve. That's their. I don't know if you've ever looked at the Georgia Guidestones, but they wanted to keep humanity under 500 million people. We are currently at 8 billion. Okay. Conspiracy Gardener Homestead saying, I'm not saying this is true, but according to these people, the federal government is bulldozing and seizing all of Chimney Rock. This is according to what they said. They say was told to them at a town meeting. I cannot confirm this, but I think it's important to document it. The mainstream and local media keeps denying these reports, but I'm seeing a lot of people saying what these three are saying. Something is definitely not right here, but the truth will come out eventually, I hope. And it's pretty much that the government are trying to flatten the land, keep it, and take it off the people. Conspiracy Gardener Homestead said, so as soon as I posted this, I started getting attacked by liberal fact checkers, including Snopes. Out of all the posts I've put out there about this situation, this is the only one I'm getting hate for. I wonder why. This makes it more suspicious to me. I never said this was true, but even mentioning it here on X seems to be bringing people out of the woodwork. This is exactly what happened in Maui. There you go. So what are they doing? The lithium and the quartz, as I mentioned yesterday in yesterday's live stream. MJ Truth Ultra said, update, Hurricane Milton. I'll start off by saying this hurricane seems unnatural. Its movement from the Bay of Campeche towards Florida's west coast is very unique. Here's why. I did some digging, and typically hurricanes that affect Florida from the Gulf of Mexico either come up from the southern Gulf or loop around after initially moving west. However, starting directly from the southwestern Gulf like Milton did and heading due east into Florida's west coast is not common. Such a direct path from its origin towards Florida's west coast has not been seen in the last 80 years of tracking hurricanes. This makes this hurricane extremely unpredictable. Details: Hurricane Milton has rapidly evolved into a significant weather event and is expected to intensify into a major Category 3 hurricane before making landfall along Florida's Gulf Coast. Milton is forecast to gain strength, potentially reaching winds of 120 miles per hour, turning it into powerful Category 3 hurricane when it makes landfall, expected around Wednesday. The projected path has a wide cone of uncertainty but is primarily aimed at Florida's Gulf Coast. This means impacts could be felt from as far south as Naples to the Big Bend region, with a central forecast near Tampa Bay. However, this path could shift, and residents across a broad swath of Florida should remain vigilant. Local authorities might issue evacuation orders, especially in low-lying areas prone to flooding or storm surge. Residents should prepare to evacuate or find shelter if advised. Governor DeSantis and state agencies have mobilised resources to aid in debris removal and storm preparation. Final thoughts. If you live in an area that floods easy, I would plan on not being there, at least until you know it's safe to return, especially if you have young children. That is, if you're allowed to return. I'm sure in Florida you would be, I hope. Again, being so close to the election, this does not sit well with me. Hurricane Helene mysteriously strengthened as it made landfall, and that's very unnatural. See, there you go. And Florida should have no reason not to expect the same. I'm concerned this will affect the election. Gather supplies now, and I'd expect millions to be impacted by power outages. Florida is a great response state, and I believe DeSantis will make sure people are taken care of the best they possibly can. Stay safe, everyone. Yeah, this is weird that just to me personally, right? I've been watching weather for a long time. Okay, since at least 2008, maybe before that. But all this, I mean, this is all land, and it's starting here? That doesn't make sense. They normally start out in the open ocean. They have started in the Gulf for years? Okay. Not with this trajectory. Okay. No, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people coming in going, oh, I know. Yeah, okay. I don't listen to people like that. State of emergency for Florida. Listen to your local weather for update on evacuations. There is something weird about these storms, let me tell you. I don't know. I just have personally never seen like a storm start in somewhere like this. Not a hurricane, sorry. Not a storm, just a hurricane. Okay, and Wokeness said 26 out of the 28 North Carolina counties wrecked by Hurricane Helene voted for President Trump in the 2020. 527,000 Trump votes and 113,000 Biden votes. Many won't be able to vote now. Well, if they can't, you can't have an election. There you go. General Mike Flynn says, say some prayers for those in the path of this next massive storm, Hurricane Milton. Family and I just got back in yesterday. We're supposed to head out this week for other major events. Maybe not. Stay tuned. So, guys, I believe Geoloft, you're down there. I believe Wheezy's down there. I believe there's a few of you from down there. Guys, stay safe. Everyone in the USA right now should really look out for yourself, okay? It looks mad down there, up there. You're up compared to where we are. Okay, up there. Dom Luca said, can someone please tell me why Hillary Clinton acting like she just bought this bloke from an auction? Okay, he didn't say bloke, but I did, okay? I just changed it. Okay, let's have a listen.
It's a Mac Daddy, which is a Cocoa Beware, a double chocolate waffle stuffed with Oreo cookies.
Okay. Why is Hillary doing that head nod thing like she did that day when the reporter asked her something and she had that wobble head going on? Okay. Ice cream again. Colin Rugg said Hillary Clinton is publicly calling for the destruction of the First Amendment. It's calling on Americans who use that right to be criminally prosecuted. She's also calling on the media to only share negative information on Trump. Here's what she said in recent months. 1. Clinton tells Rachel Maddow that some Americans who share propaganda should be criminally prosecuted. Well, that means you guys. The biggest conveyors of propaganda are these people. 2. Clinton says social media platforms like X need to moderate content so we don't lose total control. Number 3, Clinton says the media needs to report all the same news and have single consistent narrative about Trump, only reporting on how dangerous he is. Really?
But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent. There should be a lot of things done. We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to be just pass-throughs, that they shouldn't be judged for the content that is posted. But we now know that that was an overly simple view, that if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
What is something you see happening in the near future that we should be taking more seriously?
Well, I do think that the press needs a consistent, the press that's not supporting Trump blatantly, very persistently, the press that's trying to be the press, be objective, be, reporting the facts. The press needs a consistent narrative about the danger that Trump poses.
Ah, there you go. They're all following the same playbook worldwide now. Colin, they want to destroy your constitution, your Bill of Rights. As an Australian, I know what it's like to have your government come after your rights. Fight back, says Mick Amias. Colin Rugg said the most concerning part of it all is that they're saying it out loud. Imagine what they're saying behind closed doors.
There are Americans.
Yeah, exactly. Peter Sweden said they admitted it. Hillary Clinton says they'll lose total control if social media like X isn't engaging in censorship. Suck it up, Hillary. American Dream 09 said Harp is positioned perfectly right around Florida. It does seem to be activated as the whole state of Florida seems to be needing to prepare for what's to come. Hopefully this thing takes a turn, but please, if you can try and get out of Florida or go to higher ground. This video is very eye-opening. I had it for a while, just seemed to hit me more after watching the hurricanes on Milton's path. Under the water in Florida. Ready for this one? Okay, I'm trying not to play the music. This person's on Google Earth and they're going in. Okay, that's the water. Has Google Earth got drones going under the ocean now? But all these aerials, these are all HARP. Allegedly. There it is. Look at it all. Mate, that is dangerous. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of noise in the background of that one, but there you go. I don't know how true it is, so take it with a grain of salt, guys. Alana Joy said Hurricane Helene, weather modification, HARP, FEMA. Okay. If you think you're safe from weather control, consider that Asheville, North Carolina, a city nearly 300 miles away from the nearest coastline, at an elevation of 2,134 feet, just got wiped out by a hurricane. That's insane. Project Tab said HARP's secret weather geoengineering microwave weapon. This is a giant ionospheric heater. It can direct all that power into a single beam. This is another version of it. And we believe that Google have these floating around the ocean. Okay, this is what it does. Is there music in this?
Project all that power.
Okay, let's listen.
45,000 transmit-receive modules, and this antenna can...
Hang on, let me adjust the volume again. Okay.
detect an object the size of a baseball at a range of 2,500 miles. That is why I say this thing can project all that power into a pinpoint beam, totally computer controlled. The dome is 120-foot diameter. The power source is 3.6 megawatt generators for a total of almost 22 megawatts. And this HARP platform has a tow ship to move it around. So that 22 megawatts is not actually designed to go into the engines. That is designed to go into the transmitter unit. Other U.S. Navy ships have powerful microwave transmitters. This is the U.S. Navy ship Howard O. Lorenzen. It looks small, but it's actually 534 feet long. Each phased array, the boxes on the top of the deck, is a phased array transmitter, synthetic aperture radar, whatever you want to call it, weighs 250 tons, and there's a crew of 88 on board. This is a gigantic ionospheric heater again. So
I wonder if the people working on board are in any danger. Erin Brophy, don't forget to laugh, said a new Democrat battle plan. They're going to harp her into the White House. And if you, okay, let me have a look. I'll show you this one. Okay, it's HARP with 2 A's, okay? Now, if we can get some images, this is what they used to look like, okay? And under the ocean, this is what that still kind of looks like. A bit improved versions of it, okay? But this is what one looks like. It's like the field of solar panels. nearly, not well, you know, and it just takes us like a lot of area up. And this is what it apparently does. It all gets together in beams, okay? So that's what we just saw under the ocean there. So I can close that one. Go back here. Okay, Mr. Phoenix has said, okay, let's have a look at this one, this video. Has put this video up.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We are waiting the arrival of major Category 4 Hurricane Helene. This thing is an absolute monster, but take a look at this anomaly that's shooting down almost to where we're going to see landfall. It's very interesting. I'm curious to see if this thing actually lands right on top of where we think landfall is going to be. Now, there's something else kind of shooting out here underneath this layer of...
There's two things shooting out. There's one going this way, and at a certain point in the radar, there's one going up this way, okay? This happens on our radars here in Australia as well.
Moisture over the southeast. It looks like it's coming from either northern Florida or a radar tower in southern Georgia, but the main one right here, look at this big beam that shoots down right to about here. That's where we're expecting landfall, give or take. Now, something even more interesting I want to show you on a more detailed chart. All right, I'll show you once here and then we'll zoom in, but take a look. It's coming from up in this area and it shoots down right to about here where we're expecting landfall. I'll move forward and you'll pretty much see it right away. There it is now. Boom, right here. Okay, so now we're going to zoom in and see exactly where this thing points to, because that is not your normal beam that you see coming from these radar. And it's definitely coming from the state of Georgia, probably underneath this mess here. It's coming this way, and there's a cross of that other beam either coming from northern Florida or southern Georgia. All right, this is about as close as we're going to get. We're going to see one anomaly over here in the western panhandle, and then we're going to look for that shot we were just looking at. We move one frame, boom, here's those weird waves that come off. We see this a lot underneath heavy systems, especially when they're approaching the coastlines. Now we're going to look for our beam here, and we're going to see it pretty well. It's right about there. So this is pretty odd. I want to know what's going on here, and there's our cross beam, again looking like it's coming from Florida itself, so it's coming up into this direction. This one is certainly coming down from Georgia into Florida, almost to where we're seeing landfall. If we backtrack a little bit, you can see here the momentum wants to bring this storm up and then kind of oof right into this area here, maybe a little north, but that's what we're seeing. But take a look at these anomalies every couple frames, specifically that one we are looking at. There's another big one right there. It's kind of a sweeper. It's got multiple beams and it sweeps left to right. And now watch as we approach. You're going to see a bunch of little ones, and then we're going to see our landfall beam. That's the only thing I can think of naming it right now. There it is. Boom, right there. So let's see how close this actually gets to where landfall takes place. Again, not something you really want to share on TikTok or anywhere else but X, because you'll just get straight up attacked. At least on X, we can have some conversations about things. Now, this looks very odd. Let me know your thoughts. I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, that's very interesting. And anyone who knows, who's looked into it, knows that, okay, what they spray in the air, right, with the planes, and then they start these things up and it excites the particles that have been sprayed, okay? That is a theory, okay? Now, none of this is fact until proven in a court of law, okay? Just take everything with a big grain of salt. Desi Redbird, Born to Sea, said there are multiple HAARP locations around in the world, Russia and the US, of course, China, Australia, and more. Hey, where's the rest of Australia? Well, there's two over here on Western Australia. Japan, China, India, Russia, Norway, UK, Long Island, Puerto Rico, Brazil, Peru, Area 51, Gakona, Alaska. Okay, so they're all around the world, pretty much, except in large areas of the Middle East, but they cross over anyway. What happens in one, you know, will go round to the other one. Okay, read this about HAARP. What is it? The atmosphere is now conductive for the first time in the planet's history due to extensive chemtrailing of metallic particulates over the last several decades. Artificial cloudy atmosphere that will support electromagnetic waves. Particulates in the atmosphere also make directed energy weapons work better. HAARP was partially funded by an earmarked measure in 1990 introduced by Alaska Senator Ted Stevens. Center Malher Auditorium, University of Georgia in Athens, Mr. Cohen stated others are engaging in even in an eco type of terrorism whereby they can alter the climate and set off earthquakes and volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic electromagnetic waves. Wealthy Aldo Brandini, tied to the ancient bloodline family of Este from Venetia, controls the HAARP programming in the West. Interesting that HAARP transmitters were first built in the Arctic. They may be affecting our moods. Now, take it all with a grain of salt, okay, until proven, even though this is literally looks like paperwork. Okay, spraying heavy metal particles is all about increasing the conductivity of the atmosphere, global warming or climate change being the cover story. That when used in conjunction with these heaters are able to create all sorts of natural disasters, such as starting fires that burn homes and not trees, creating earthquakes and modifying the atmospheric electrical properties enough to create hurricanes, tornadoes, droughts and floods. For the first time in history, we have an atmosphere that is conductive with all the metallic particulate matter in the skies. HAARP is also very deadly scalar technology with patents gathered from Nikola Tesla when he died. This tinderbox of matches is now in the hands of the cabal. Okay. Nick Bejic, author of Angels Don't Play This HAARP. Okay, if anyone ever gets a chance to read this, read it, please, and let me know what it says. States that any persons harbouring these target chemicals within their bodies would be susceptible to the action of HAARP frequencies. What does this imply? Well, for decades, our government and our food supply has been flooded with it far beyond acceptable levels by a variety of toxins which now course through every vein on the surface of the planet. It doesn't take much imagination to consider what catastrophic effects HAARP frequencies might play on the physiological structure of the human frame. Title 50, Chapter 32, subsections 1520 A and B of the United States Code Law state, prohibited activities. The Secretary of Defense may not conduct directly or by contact 1. Any test or experiment involving the use of chemical agent or biological agent on a civilian population, or 2. Any other testing of a chemical agent or biological agent on human subjects. Yet this exemption allows us to be sprayed from aerial deployment. B. Exceptions. Subject to subsections, it's going to get hard to read. C, D, and E of this section, the prohibition in subsection A of this section does not apply to a test or experiment carried out for any of the following purposes. Any peaceful purposes that is related to medical, therapeutic, pharmaceutical, agricultural, industrial, or research activity. You read that right. As long as they classify their mass murder as peaceful purpose that is related to medical, therapeutic, pharmaceutical, agricultural, industrial, or research activity, they get to legally spray us with whatever the hell they want, whenever they want. And now we can see this is exactly what they've done. Okay. Clapton said, so you still think they can't manipulate the weather? Still? Cloud seeding? HAARP? This is hundreds watching this. Concerned Citizen says, seriously, people, what do you think's happening? There are hundreds of amateur meteorologists all reporting the same phenomenon. They're not all saying the same thing for fun. You can also see it yourself. He's going to show you the scalar waves. Okay, it seems to be happening. It's all coming from a point back here under his finger. Yeah, if he looks, it's all coming out from a certain point. Right, let's have a look. It seems to be coming from about here somewhere on this one. Okay, there's a lot of people.
California here. This is roughly where Vandenberg Air Force Base is. You see that emanating out towards the coast from there? Watch, boom. See that right there? Those pulses that look like the Wi-Fi symbol. Yeah, that's microwave energy. It's coming down here as well, but it's a different pattern. You see that? They're shooting out into the ocean to dissipate any moisture that might be coming to save us from their heat wave that they're inducing. And you see this massive pulse going from east to west and all these NexRed towers here. But you could pull up on a map and see the positions and see how they're radiating. It's not birds, honey. It's not weather. See? Fixed position. You see the towers, the black in the center. All right.
These are thought to be, these are theorized to be, okay? Now, nothing here is fact until proven in a court of law. But each of these little spots here is theorized to be a weather station. We believe they can do more than they say. Okay? Not just take the weather, they do other stuff to it too.
It's emanating outwards from that. We're being microwaved.
Being microwaved, he said. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. But there you go. Free energy equals freedom, said Harpworks. Look up more and you'll see it in time. Okay, this is what happens. Ready? Okay. Whoa, that was loud. I'm so sorry, guys. The last video was so low. Okay, since this has a lot of music behind it, I'm just going to play it and show you a few things, okay? This is what the technology does. Now watch these clouds. And you'll see little waves going through them. See them? See, these machines excite what's already up there. When you've got it on such a scale as this, this is not natural, okay? This is not natural. This is where the beams are being sent up to excite what's going on up there.
From the main building over there up into these dipole antennas. Each of these trailers you see around me have transmitters in them. The transmitters feed power from the main building over there up into these dipole antennas. And basically there are 180 antennas radiating high frequency waves up in the ionosphere. It's a big ham radio, a big HF radio, the biggest in the world. Fundamentally what this is about is taking the ionosphere at 100 kilometers up and turning it into a laboratory. We can do experiments. We can create bubbles, we can heat small sections, we can create waves, we can excite plasma resonances and do a lot of experiments. We can transmit signals all around the world. We can study effects of the ionosphere. It basically makes the ionosphere a laboratory, and we can do experiments that no one else can do.
Okay, and if they shoot enough beams up into the ionosphere, they can push the ionosphere out, and then once they stop, it comes slamming back down, which is theorized to cause earthquakes. Okay, Isaac's Army, everyone's onto it. Harper's at it again. Hurricane Milton's going to be an interesting one. Bad feelings, stay safe. And vigilant, it seems to appear out of nowhere on this radar. Watch this, okay? You can see it here. Boom, all of a sudden it's there. Okay. I don't care about their fact checks. Okay. Not a number. This person believes Hurricane Helene was HAARP, a deep state weapon to destroy humanity. Let's have a listen.
I keep a house in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm here this week. And, boy, what a mess. What a mess. I don't know where to begin. You know, you hear about things like HAARP. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to explain it to you here, but weather modification's been apparent for 15 years if you have 2 brain cells and a pair of eyes. And then you endure something like this, a storm like this, that is such an anomaly. It's a total impossibility for a hurricane to maintain its eye hundreds of miles inland in the mountains and raise the river 30 feet, a record 30 feet. And then you start to put the pieces together with the lithium mine that's supposed to go into construction just outside of town next year, the largest lithium mine in North Carolina. And then you hear about the quartz mine that supposedly has the purest quartz that is what they use for the silica chips for our cell phones.
Wow. There you go.
I keep.
And then here's more of what HAARP looks like in effect. These are not natural clouds. When you see weird cloud patterns, just have a really good look. Take photos of them. Post them online. People will tell you exactly what it is. And Ryan Matter believes HAARP created Hurricane Milton Harris. This is what geoengineering looks like. And it is. Sam Parker, Yukis Cage said they can't affect a hurricane, right? Well, here's a History Channel weather warfare. History Channel 2009 explained in detail how HAARP could modify weather and cause earthquakes. Imagine what they can do now. They tried to scrub this from the internet, but I found it. This is a 45-minute documentary from the History Channel telling you exactly how. Concerned citizen said old video of Welsh locals exposing HAARP facility in South Wales. These are now littered across the world in accordance and operating with the other aerial activity you will see. Okay, this is in Wales, UK. They've got them everywhere. Okay, and Shadow of Ezra, this will be the last one. Lord Jamar claims Hollywood is controlled by a gay mafia that blackmails people to maintain its influence, mentioning Diddy as a member, though not its leader. He suggests that Diddy disrupted Hollywood's top power structure through blackmail right before his home was raided, hinting that his Illuminati contract had expired. Jamar also asserts that the true elites in power engage in dark practices such as money magic, sex magic, and casting spells. Okay, guys, well, with that, I'm going to leave it here for today. It's been a big... Oh, and apparently tunnels under Diddy's mansion. But we kind of knew that, so... Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. I will get on to working on the rest of all this stuff. Yeah. Very soon. Okay, guys, I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Talk to you soon. Bye.